Food for the Archons started as a book of total despair. I began writing it in response to watching my father die a terrible death from cancer in the midst of a intense psychic experience where I came to the understanding that there are things beyond our perception that are feeding on our energy, and they allowed for the suffering of my father to harvest the energy of me and my family during our period of grief while we watched him die, grief and fear. I didn't expect to find basically the smoking gun that I found. And one of those smoking guns in developing this story was the work of Cleve Backster. And I needed to prove that there was, in fact, a communication mechanism by which to send and receive that information. And what Cleve Backster found was something called primary perception. Cleve Backster was a well-respected individual. He worked for the FBI, for the CIA. He was doing polygraph work, and one day he tried to burn one of his plants that he had connected to the polygraph machine. And as he was reaching for the lighter, the machine connected to the plants began to respond. The plants had a measurable reaction to fear. Psychic communication. They were reading his intent to do harm. And I found, and I wrote about a lot of instances of this in the book, and it's really changed my life in looking at this world. You know, a lot of times when I started writing this, I thought, okay, maybe I'll just become a vegan because I will no longer be contributing to the suffering of life on this planet. And then after reading that experiment, those repeated experiments, and watching a documentary called The Secret Life of Plants, I realized that everything, every living thing experiences fear and anxiety and suffering. So even when we're eating plants thinking, oh, there's no suffering now, I'm not contributing to the suffering of animals, well, we are. And we're still putting out what's called that louche energy. And it leaves us in quite the conundrum here. How do we survive in this world as peaceful, loving beings when we have to kill something in order to live? Now, we can switch and do it in a more humane way, yes, but we still are contributing to that aspect of fear. Now, controlling our fear, what I've learned, is essential in this game. And I really try to give you the tools, the resources, and the references in Food for the Archons so you can start to better understand how this system works. In order to do that, though, we need to understand who we are and what we are.